Why finding a classic Mercedes for most people is a rope you end up hanging yourself on. Well, I guess sometimes you have trying to stay, up to speed. I guess with the Mercedes market is a really difficult thing because it seems like it changes every week. But one of the things that I find recently, and this is something that I'm sure anybody in the car business will find themselves doing, is finding the right car for people. Now, generally, I enjoy this. I enjoy advising people about purchasing classic Mercedes and vetting their purchases. It could save somebody a lot of trouble, a lot of suffering. It can generally save them money in the long run if they buy a great car, and sometimes it can even get them out ahead a little bit of the game if they buy the right car at the right price and they do the right things to it to make it a great car. You end up beating the market. So when I help people buy a car, those are the three questions I try to answer. One, can I help you beat the market by finding an unadvertised, solid example of a great Mercedes? Number two, can I help you find a car that is going to be the car that you've been waiting for your whole life? And then number three, can I help you find a car that that is going to hold its value in the long run and not just be a fool's errand? And one of the reasons why I always am concerned about cars holding their value is because I'm worried about whether or not a customer is going to sell the car in the future, although that is a realistic, thing. It's more so because people they compare what they have with what sells in the market through websites like BAT or Cars and Bids or Hemmings Auctions or wherever you choose to look for classic cars and look at them, because they're always comparing. And what I want to make sure is that the finished product is going to come in about where a perceived finished product is going to sell. Because if you go on one of those sites and you buy a car, it's inevitably going to need some work. So that means that there is a little bit of extra value for the money there in exchange for the amount of time it takes to find and sort one of these cars out. Now, let's go back to the frustrations of finding cars for people. This is something I'm telling all of you guys because I know that some people are watching where they call me about finding a car, and I find them a car and it seems to be a great car, and then they end up wasting a bunch of my time and not following through, and that's the rope. And the hanging myself part is when I build the relationship with the seller of the car, because it's a relationship building process and it's a process of mutual respect. Because a lot of the time I don't typically buy or find cars from people who bought it last week and just want to flip the car. I don't work with flippers unless it's something really rare and unusual. I don't work with dealers unless it's something really rare and unusual. I work typically with long-term owners that have had their cars. Even if the car is totally not running, I'd still rather get it as a Sleeping Beauty than as a, than as a Dolly Parton. I'm just saying, if you want me to explain the Dolly Parton analogy, what I'm referring to is the fact that Dolly Parton has done everything under the sun to keep herself looking young and fresh, but really under all the makeup and plastic surgery, she's a sweet lady and I love some of her music, but she's getting up there, she's got a few miles under her belt. So that's the analogy. Anyway, and by the way, there are also some other analogies there too, but we'll delve into them later. But anyway, actually, no, I'm going to share one more with you. There's another car that I call another category of car that I call the who's that lady that died in a plane crash? The Joe Lara Thomas Gwynn. Oh man, I thought you'd know this. Well, anyway, she was the quote unquote pastor of this weird metaphysical church in Tennessee, and her celebrity husband Joe Lara thought he knew how to fly a plane and ended up crashing and killing himself and her and everybody on board. And she she went the extra mile to try to look young and hip, but man, there were some internal combustion problems with that highly detailed engine, and some of them were psychological, and some of them were probably worse than that. So anyway, what I see oftentimes is that the sellers that have held onto these cars for years want their cars to go to the right home. So this is a relationship building process because I have to prove that A, I'm going to be able to take care of the car, and B, I have a customer that's interested in doing so. And nothing drives me crazier than vetting a car and finding a car for somebody that's been in the same family for years, and then the person pulling out later because of cost concerns or because of you know, whether they're comfortable with the car or not, or some weird category like I don't quite like the color or whatever. You know, dealing with non-serious, non-committal buyers wastes everybody's time. It wastes my time. It wastes the seller's time. It wastes the other 2 or 3 people, like my friend Dr. Obi Izaguzzo, or who's another great example. My friend Graham, who are really serious about finding a car and being ready when that right car comes up, you know. And in the case of dealing with these sorts of situations where you go through the mile and hang yourself on that rope of endless pursuit of the right car, you kind of get frustrated because then you have to tell the seller, well, I'm really sorry this didn't work out. You have to tell the buyer, I wish you would have followed through because I don't think we're going to find this again. And then you have to tell yourself, wow, that was a lot of time you could have used to write invoices or make estimates or whatever. Because let's be honest with ourselves. If I'm not doing some work-related activity, I'm usually asleep or usually spending time with Elaine and Madeline. Otherwise, there aren't any non-work-related activities I do. Zero. There just aren't. You know, it's what I signed up for. So, you know, I don't charge people a premium for my time, but maybe I should start. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're looking for a classic Mercedes, there are plenty of cars out there that need great homes, but I can't do it without potential owners to them. On the flip side, if you're thinking about getting a classic Mercedes and you're not sure, you can ask me any question you want. I'm always here to ask questions. But when you say find me a car, that's like telling the bloodhound to find the criminal, because, you know, it's a signal to me that we need to get cracking. So, you know, I just, and for all of you that I found cars for, thank you. Like Julian, my friend Julian, he was ready to go and he's been so patient. Or you know, I'm sorry if I'm forgetting you. Sometimes I just draw a blank when I'm talking. But anyway, we'll talk later. I'll see you in the future. Please like, share, and subscribe, and tap the bell for notifications. And thank you if you're a Patreon supporter. See you in the next video.